Okay. Today we're going to tell a very terrifying story. This is the first story. So yesterday, around 10 p.m., my dad suddenly asked me to go with him to the hospital because he forgot some of his stuff in his office or wherever. You know, our hospital has several buildings, different departments in different buildings, like one for cardiology, another for pulmonology, and so on. My dad, he's an internist, wanted to chat with the head of department, I'm not sure which department, about some basic stuff. But to get to him, we had to go through building J9. I think that was the name. And then from J9 to the head of department's office. We went into J9, and it was pitch black. You couldn't see a thing. My dad turned on his phone flashlight, and we just walked forward in the dark. As we were walking, we suddenly saw a guy walking towards us, looked kind of Indian. He had an extremely long beard, and his hair was weird, sticking up high on both sides, but bald in the middle. The man was walking and just staring at us, without saying a word. My dad asked him, "Hey, can you turn on the lights here?" My dad thought he worked in the building, so he asked him to turn on the lights since it was so dark. But the man just stared and went into the elevator. My dad found it a bit strange, but didn't think much of it. After that, we went to the head of department's office and stayed there for about half an hour. They just chatted about random things. When we were done, my dad wanted to go up to his office to get what he forgot, and the fastest way was through the elevator in J9 that the man had gone up in. We pressed the elevator button, and it arrived. To our surprise, the man we had encountered was still in the elevator. 30 minutes had passed, and he was just there. We got in the elevator and pressed the button for my dad's office floor. The man just kept looking back and forth between me and my dad, without saying anything. I gave my dad a side eye like, why is this dude staring at us like that? Suddenly the elevator stopped working. My dad quickly called the head of department and said, "Hey, our elevator seems to be stuck." The head of department said, "Just press the emergency button, it should work." My dad then asked him, "Is there anyone working in J9? I met a guy there, and he hasn't said a word, and he's just staring at me and my son in the elevator now." The head of department sounded confused and said, "No one works in J9. My dad just said, "All right," not thinking too much about it. My dad told me to press the emergency button. The guy was standing right in front of the buttons, so I had to carefully reach behind him and press the red button. The elevator actually started moving again. The man continued to stare back and forth at us. My dad waved slightly awkwardly at the strange man and forced a little smile, asking, "You okay?" The man just kept staring at us. After about 5 seconds, the elevator reached my dad's floor. We quickly got out. The strange man was still in the elevator. We went to grab my dad's mug and laptop, which took us about 10 seconds. When we got back to the elevator to go down to our car and head home, the elevator was still there, hadn't moved since we left it. We pressed the button, the elevator doors opened, and the man was gone. I freaked out. Where could he have gone? It didn't make sense, the elevator hadn't moved. I asked my dad where the guy was, and he was just as confused, saying he had no idea. We went downstairs and back to our car, and never saw that strange man again. Okay. Today, we're going to tell the second terrifying story. This happened when I was around 8 or 9 years old. Even though I've moved away since then, I still think about this incident and wonder. My papa was 57 years old at the time. He was an avid outdoorsman, grew up hunting and fishing, and did it his whole life. Once I was old enough, my papa started taking me hunting and fishing, and I loved it. I clicked with it immediately. From then on, we were always together, me by my papa's side, him teaching me along the way, learning how to identify tracks, calls, trees. Needless to say, he knew the area and was well experienced in it. One day, we went hunting. The drive felt like it took forever, endless curves and twists of the Tennessee mountains that even thinking about that road makes me sick. Once we finally arrived, it was nothing but trees and gravel. No houses, no streetlights, just nature. We walked for around 10 minutes and sat down above an old logging road. After sitting there for a couple of hours in complete boredom, we finally saw a doe walk down the road. I was shaking, LOL. My papa drew the gun on the deer and took the shot. The deer dropped. It was a great moment for us, our first deer together. We took our photos with the deer, field dressed it, and started dragging it back to the truck. As we were dragging it back, we heard coyotes behind us yelping, very close. My papa urged me to move quicker. Then, all of a sudden, the most ungodly screech yell I've ever heard in my life came from the bottom of the hill below us. It instantly struck fear into younger me. I looked at my papa and noticed his eyes got wider. I asked, "Papa, what was that?" Because he would also teach me the calls of different animals, he said, "Boy, I've never heard that in my life. It's time to go." To this day, I'm not sure what or who made that sound, but seeing my papa worried and not knowing what it was enough for me at the time to be scared shitless. Thanks for reading.